You are listening to Into a Dream, two friends in conversation about all things intuition and dreaming.
Hi, I'm Peggy Sue Honeyman-Scott. I am a teacher, healer, speaker, and writer of all things intuitive.
Hello, my name is Carr, and I'm a dreaming guide, a death doula, an author, and a psychic medium.
Hello, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Peggy Sue.
Did you have a good New Year's Eve?
Yeah, it was good. Very quiet. I was in bed before midnight. I wanted to feel good the next morning.
Isn't it the best? Because you wake up feeling so good. You know, you're not tired. You're not hungover. I've done that for many, many, many years. I love waking up and having a really fantastic, relaxing day on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I mean, feeling completely like your brain is intact is a good way to start. That's how I need to start, with a full brain to make the goals for the next year coming up.
Yes, tradition has it that, I don't know who started that we create new goals, or I like to call them targets, because actually there's in the pre-1940s dictionaries, words had different meanings. You can actually look it up on Google and find that dictionary. And goal actually means jail. So I don't like ever since I've heard that, I'm like, oh, I don't like how that feels. I'd rather do a target, and that way you can keep, throwing things at the target. And if you don't exactly hit it where you originally wanted it to, it's okay. There's no judgment, and you can just keep throwing the dart, right?
Instead of going to jail. That sounds awful.
Jail. Yeah, because I just didn't quite hit my goal. It's funny because I've been told since I was really young to create goals and write goals, and it never felt good to me. I tried it a couple times. I just wasn't jiggy with it. Just energetically, it just didn't feel right. It felt too much like I'll be in trouble if it doesn't, if I don't get there. What am I going to do if I don't get there? Then what? I'm going to be, bad for me.
It's true. Shame on you.
Yeah, right? And there's enough shame in the world. We don't need to be shaming ourselves. So I like that better. So something I've been doing for a few years is writing down my targets. And I did it with my daughter one year. It was so much fun because, the person, usually whoever it is a little resistant, and they're like, well, I don't know what I want. And then, because I've done this with a few people, not only my daughter, and myself too. And I kind of like really have to think about it. You're sitting there like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden you get this rush of woo, and it's, if you don't have any judgment on the targets that you're making, if you could do anything you wanted instead of going, well, I can only do that if this happens. And, there's too much figuring out. If you just go, I can do whatever I want, and make this list of, way out there things that they might sound way out there right now, but, maybe they're not, and maybe you'll get there, and maybe it'll take 2 years instead of 1 year. So it doesn't have to be from only this year to this year. It can be for your whole future. Right?
Yeah.
It's just more fun that way, and it's more free flowing. And then we roll it up and we take it outside and burn it.
I love a bit of burning on New Year.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I did burn some things with my partner, but we burned stuff from things that we want to leave behind, things that just are no longer
like an old
serving
chair
us,
or
anything. No, burning, like, yeah. Burning objects, right? Yeah, but burning down what we've written, what we've written of things that we don't want to bring forward. So laying the past to the rest.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I was in a ritual at this yoga retreat where we put all this stuff into a rice grain, and then we burned the rice. But I would actually rather focus on what I do want instead of what I don't want.
That's really good. That is probably a good balance, you know.
Or
Um,
maybe both, you know.
yeah. I like your technique though. That's really good to not have any limitations and to really let yourself really think about what you really, really, really would want, instead of limiting yourself in some kind of way. I think we, you know, we all grow up with conditioning of, no, you can't do that. You're just a dreamer. That's a pipe dream. Yeah, as if that will ever happen. And this really kind of it stilts us and it stunts us from actually thinking outside of the box and something greater, because we create these limitations, and a lot of the times it's unconscious too, because we just been shut down our whole life, you know, either by teachers saying, yeah, as if you're not going to amount to anything, little Jimmy, or whatever. um, this can be negative talk that stays with us, so we just think, oh well, I don't have enough money, or I didn't go to university or college, or you know, we'll have all these sort of reasons why we can't do things. But I like your technique because it smashes that all out of the way, and you just get into the flow, into the big picture dreaming stuff, and that's where all the really great things happen. But yeah, just allowing yourself to write it down, I think, is just freeing it and making it become a reality. um, and
Yeah.
then it just sort of sits there on the page, just kind of like vibrating, like, yeah, I want to achieve this.
Yes, and then you can go further and break them down, and maybe, you know, write a few ways that you are going to get there. You know, like how
Yeah,
could you, or just a question like, what will it take to get there, and you know, what else is possible, and how is this going to happen, and
absolutely.
where am I going to find the
This-
money to do that, or whatever it is. You know, um,
yeah.
I'm just making this up as I go along.
No, but this stuff works. And it's funny that, you know, just about 2 hours before we hooked up on the Zoom here to chat, I was telling you I'm going through lots of old boxes, and I'm like kind of finally unpacking a few things. And I had to access a few photographs because I'm working on this book at the moment, and I need like loads of photos for it. It's a little bit of a little memoir from a section of my life. But when I was going through the boxes, I found an old journal, and it was from 1994. And I was writing down, obviously, some New Year's, like some intention, or, you know, targets. And one of them was, I'm going to join a band and play music and record music and tour, which is amazing because less than 10 years later, I achieved that goal. So in 2000, and I think it was
Wow.
2002,
Planted the seed.
I planted the seed. And then the second one was, I'm going to write children's books, which I was like, wow. And then I saw all these like all my
Wow.
preliminary outlines for loads of different children's books ideas. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because I've already authored one book, and I'm writing a second one now, but it's kind of slightly targeted for a younger
Adults.
audience. Yeah,
For
so
adults.
I'm thinking, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I
Yeah.
think the children's books are going to be on, but that's an example, Peggy Sue, that I put down
Yeah.
these words in 1994, and they held some kind of, you know, energy moving forward, and they did, you know, the one manifested, the other one manifested in a different kind of way, but it's still on my radar to write those kids books.
Yes, that's so cool. So that's a perfect example. Another thing I was thinking about is a lot of people say, you know, oh, wish I'd win the lottery, or you know, they say it, but they don't really mean it. So if you can go further by saying, well, what would you do with the money if you did win the lottery? And then you can really get into the dream. Now that's the same with anything that you want to do. You then, you know, say, I want to join a band, or I want to play in a band. Well, what's the first step of getting a band? Well, maybe get a guitar or some drums, or learn an instrument, right? Go out and meet some people, maybe write some songs. You know, there are things that you also have to do. You know, you have to take steps to get to that. It's not just going to come out of thin air, although it might. You know, some people are really good at saying, I want this, and then boom, it happens. And that's just believing that it is going to happen. But, and also not limiting it to the year. Like by next year, you know, like, well, what if it takes a little bit longer? And what if something better comes along and, you know, you maybe don't want to do that anymore. But the
Yeah.
idea and the steps to getting to that led you to something completely different that you never thought of. I've heard of people saying that, oh, I do this now, but I started doing this and I thought I was going there. And then I ended up doing this job and I actually love this way better. So it's just a way of getting there and a way of starting it.
And it's great because it's a creative process. It feels good when you write down these big dreams. You know, like when I got teleported back to 1994, reading that page and reading like, I'm going to join a band and I'm going to record and I'm going to go on tour. I remember feeling that when I was younger, you know, that feeling of like excitement, like, yes, doing music, playing music, being on stage, being on tour. And it felt like really exciting. And I just felt it again, you know, and I thought, well, it's that too. It's like, it's the emotion of excitement. There's an energy behind our emotions. And when you feel it, it's like you're bringing it in. It's like there's something very powerful about our emotive energy. And so really feeling what you're saying, what you're writing down,
and
feeling it.
I wonder if what you're talking about is that you are actually feeling your future.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Really exciting, isn't it?
It's cool. So it's good.
What I do in the retreats that we're offering, and in my book, one of the exercises is to write down these things, and then we break it down and really get into the feeling aspect of it. And it really does work. I remember my first list that I did when I started doing these exercises a long time ago, 20-something years ago. When I looked back on them only a year later, I was astounded at what manifested. I mean, I think I got everything on the list. It was crazy. And it's kind of scary because it kind of scares us a little bit because we're like, wow, I'm actually powerful. I am a potent mofo, you know? And that can be scary. Is it Martin Luther or was it Marianne Williamson who wrote the speech about being, you know, our power is what scares us? You know that speech? You know what I'm talking about?
I do, but I wouldn't try even to like paraphrase it.
I just know it's very powerful. And I thought it was by Martin Luther. And then for some reason, I found out it was by Marianne Williamson, I think. Anyway, sorry, I should be talking about what I do know instead of what I don't. Because I talk forever about what I don't know. But it's in that she was, or he was very right about that. It can be a little scary for some people to be able to just see that we can just wave a little magic wand and get whatever we want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's again just going back to how we're conditioned from a very young age to the times we're in school, that you know you need X, Y, and Z in order to do anything in this world, and a lot of these zones of self-belief and just going out on a limb and trying something new, even being like innovation, like the innovation and taking risks, and a lot of this stuff isn't really encouraged. You know, we're more encouraged to toe the line and work hard and like take the middle road and come on, make life easy for yourself and follow all the rules that are there in order to keep you in line, basically. So people find it probably quite intimidating to step out of that middle of the road path. There's a really great tarot card in the deck of tarot, an archetype card called the Hierophant. And the Hierophant sums that up, that mentality. It is the card of the status quo, and we don't deviate from the path and the rules. But if you look at, you know, some of the best inventional artists, thinkers, a lot of them thought out of the box. They didn't follow the status quo. They really pushed the limits, but they did it from a place of authenticity. It wasn't like they were trying to emulate some other person out there or some other concept or idea. They were, certainly we are influenced by things, but for the most part, people are stepping out with their authentic selves. So yeah, there's something very powerful about that, and I think it probably does freak people out a little bit when you're told that no, you have the power. Actually, who probably does get freaked out is the ones that are kind of running things. Those on top want us to believe that we don't have the power. That we don't have any power, that they do, and we need them.
That wouldn't be the Catholic Church, would it?
There's a lot of institutions I could be referring to right now, but with this sort of hierarchy. But yeah, they probably wouldn't want us to know that we have the ability to co-create our reality or bring in things that we want.
Yeah, you can't control people if they know what they're doing, can you?
Yeah, that's true.
That's a whole nother video or another talk. So we're wanting to empower people, and one of the steps is just writing down the list, and not having a limit on the time. It's not only till 2021, because we met in July, and it's taken us 6 months. We've been co-creating and talking about this retreat and working on it for 6 months now. We had an idea and a goal, and we've been slowly working on getting there. I mean, not slowly, quite fast, but it takes time sometimes, but the idea is there, and it's about to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it is happening, but
it's happening. It's true. And it's good. I mean, and you can kind of, it's interesting with conscious dreaming, with the dreaming practice that I teach. You can use your dreams to practice your ability to co-create your reality, practice bringing in anything that you feel like you want to experience. So in a lucid dream, this is a great arena in which to practice this ability to bring about and manifest anything that you desire and that you want to experience. So in a lucid dream, this is where we become completely conscious and aware within the dream state. So often people will become lucid in the dream and be like, oh my God, this is a dream, I'm dreaming. And they get so excited, they wake themselves up. But there are ways in which you can secure yourself within the dream and continue to make things happen within the dream, and to create your dream, so you can begin to talk to dream characters, and you can fly, and you can do things that you were afraid to do in waking life, like something really drastic, like jumping up high, flying, and doing things that are something that you might have been intimidated with in your waking life. So that's a good example of using conscious dreaming and lucid dreaming in order to practice your own will and practice your own intentions to bring forth something that manifests.
So how exactly do you do it? I mean, you practice in your dreams, like say I want to, I don't know, buy a house. So I would practice in my dreams, owning a house or buying a house, or how does that work?
Yeah, actually, you could probably do that. I mean, I've never spoken with anyone who's actually done that specific example, but definitely setting intentions before you fall asleep, or affirmations. So as you're falling asleep, I'm going to find my dream home. I'm going to find the home that I'm going to buy. I will find that dream. I'll find that home in my dreams tonight. And you just basically, you set affirmations, and you say them before you fall to sleep.
And by practicing that helps create it?
Yeah, that can help you become conscious within the dream state. So, and it could help bring in that house into your dream content. So you'll be having a normal dream, and maybe you'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden you see this beautiful home, and then you look at it, and then something in your consciousness will wake up and be like, it's my home, it's the home that I want to buy. And then you could wake up within the dream and then maybe explore the home and get some wisdom or some information from the dream to bring back into your waking reality.
So if yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And then there's things you can do during the day in order to train your mind to be able to wake up in your dreams, and they're called reality checks. And this is a very simple way. We'll say it's a home. We're going to use the home as a reality check. So every time you're online looking at homes to buy, you can do a reality check, looking at the image of the house. Is this a dream? Is this reality? Am I dreaming? Is this reality? And just play with the feeling of being, your perception being dreaming or awake, and just play with it and question it. Is this a dream or is this reality? And do it all the time for the house. Even when you're walking down the street, you see a house, do it with the house. So the more you do that, the more chances that you will become lucid in a dream when you end up seeing a house within your dream, because you've been practicing many times during the day, with the reference point being a house.
Okay, got it. So I'm trying to figure out, because we were talking about, you said it can help you with manifesting your dreams, right? By it being in your dreams. So does it also bring about the thing that you're trying to achieve?
Well, that's the interesting thing. I mean, obviously science can't back that up, but I've known so many people who've worked this way, and I've worked this way, where some things come through in the dreams and through a lucid dream, and then you're able to bridge that into your waking reality. So you know the old saying, make your dreams come true?
Aha. Oh, that's a whole new spin. Yeah.
It basically manifests from the arena and the playground of your dreams, specifically your lucid dreams.
Nice. I love it.
No, it's great. I mean, being alive is an amazing thing. I mean, there's so many things we can explore, you know, and our consciousness can explore and create in so many different ways, even when we're asleep. And it's amazing how we spend about a third of our life asleep and we just shrug it off and ignore it. But it's like a total playground to get things done in an amazing realm, for not just like manifestation or bringing something into your life, but also for healing, for creative inspiration, for problem solving. I mean, whatever you want it to be, it's there to play with you and to work with you. These are your dreams. This is you, an exploration of you.
And we're still alive when we're dreaming. It's not like we're dead. And it's half of our life, right? Half of our life is dreaming. So it's not like, right?
It's like a third of our life. So about 25 years.
It's only a third.
That's a long time. Yeah. Because our sleep cycles, we're dreaming in various time, you know, so we're asleep, but in that sleep cycle, we're only dreaming for a certain amount of time.
What are we doing the other part?
Deep restorative sleep, which repairs and rebuilds a lot of our cells and helps with our balancing our hormones and biologically it's very restorative. It's there's so many
resting our organs.
Resting organs.
Because when you stand up, your organs have to, they're holding on, and when you lay down, they actually get to relax and rest.
Yeah, sleep's very important. I mean, it's literally, if we have sleep debt, it seriously can affect our health, not just mentally, but biologically. You know, there's loads of studies that show increase risks of loads of ailments when we've shortchanged our sleep.
Is it just being horizontal, or is it being like eyes shut and out?
Yes, we do. We need the deep restorative sleep. We really need it for us to really be able to function in our waking lives.
So what
Um,
about, I mean, there's a lot of anxiety in the world, right? What do people do have all this anxiety, and the anxiety doesn't let them relax and sleep? I know a lot of people who don't sleep very well. They have a lot of anxiety constantly. Um, is, but yet they're still functioning and they're still going about life, but they're obviously lacking something, right? That restorative. So does that just add up? And how can you help anxiety with the dream work?
yeah, you can help anxiety with the dream work, specifically in your dreaming practice, the things you're doing in the day. So to eliminate anxiety, just bringing more, really look at your lifestyle, look at the stimulants that you're putting into your body. I mean, simple things like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee is enough to send the anxiety, going skyrocket. So just even simple things like that. But definitely things like meditation, exercise helps tremendously with anxiety. But just have an overall look at all the different areas of your life that is anxiety promoting.
Really?
So
What if the anxiety was like from you when you were a lot younger, and then it's just carried over into your adult life? And is there always a depletion, or can you actually catch up by at some point?
you mean with anxiety, can you
Now, once
curb
you've
it?
had the sleep loss for many years,
Okay.
will you able to, your pot is depleted, are you ever able to replenish that pot?
With sleep debt, that's a good
That's
point. I mean, it depends on how many years sleep debt. You really need to balance things out in your awake time. So the priority would be, if it's anxiety that's keeping one awake, the priority would be to get to the root cause of the anxiety, and to on transcending that. I mean, I know a lot of people who have anxiety, they go on to medication to help with the
yes.
anxiety, but that often disrupts the sleep cycles too. So um, it's a real catch-22 situation.
Yeah, I mean, Xanax is like the aspirin of the world now. I know way too many people who are on that stuff, and it's like, I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's Xanax. And it's very addictive, because it gets you to sleep, and that's what people kind of want. But
yeah,
it does that
they're
does
desperate.
yeah, it knocks you out. But I mean, really look into, if you are relying on sleeping aids, really look into um, the effects that it actually really has on your deep restorative sleep. It's kind of like with alcohol, when people have a glass of wine before bed, they think that makes them sleepy. And it does make you feel drowsy and knock you out, but actually studies show that it doesn't give you restorative. You're actually having fits and starts all night.
Yeah,
There's a
you get
restlessness,
dehydrated and
dehydrated. And so there's a real, sort of fallacy when it comes to, oh, I'll just knock back a bit of alcohol to chill my nerves and like make me sedate and relax. It actually is working against you. But I'm a big proponent of dream herbs and dream plants that help. I know I have a whole bunch that can help with anxiety, specifically with anxiety. So drinking a cup of tea of these amazing dreaming plants can really be a more natural, holistic way to help you rest into sleep. But also they have great side effects where they bring more vivid and meaningful dream states. So, so you're getting like a 2-for-1 bonus there.
yeah, I know a lot of like mothers who are just, if they have a lot of children, they just are overwhelmed, and the only, they're just at the end of the day, they just want that glass of wine to relax. we
I
need good
know.
we need a good mom tea.
Yeah, definitely we'll remarket the instead of the wine o'clock, it'll be
Yeah, you have teas, and,
it'll
and
be
like one sachet will be for one kid, and then you'll have the 2 kids version, and then you have the 3 or more infusion.
Depending on how many kids you have. But yeah, I think it's safe to say if you're a mom, you're probably not going to be sleeping for the first, 5 years, 6 years of the child's life. And then if you have another one straight out, it could be a whole decade. It could be a really long time.
And they manage.
I have.
Yeah,
well,
then,
they have
and then
interesting
you go
dreams.
to menopause, after that. We've got way off the subject here.
Yeah. We're getting on to hormones now. Oh, I know a few plants that can help sort that out too, ladies, if you're listening. If you're going through the pause, I know a few roots that you can have that sort you out, a few flowers that will sort you out. Yeah.
Well, I know we got off subject, but it's it's a new decade. I mean, that's the other thing that people are talking about. It's like, I forgot that it's a new decade until the other day. I was like, wow, oh, it's a whole, but I mean, isn't it, it's always a decade. Every year there's another decade. I hate these limitations we put on things, But
yeah, we're really addicted to our calendars, we're very addicted to time and how time works in chunks of time. And it's funny because if you look at the Vedic or the astrological kind of weather, where we're looking at a really long timeline, so when certain planets are aligning with other planets, you're looking at more of a 300-year timeline where it's like, that hasn't happened in 300 years. This is a really important,
Yeah.
So it's quite funny how as you move out of the planet into the further afield, the calendars get longer and longer. It puts things in perspective. You realize like we're only these small little blips in the multiverse.
That's right. I had a teacher that said once, and I actually read it from a science journal, and it said something like, "We are but a speck on some foam on a beach of the ocean." And I'm like, oh my God, I'm totally insignificant. Just makes you go, I think my problems are a big deal. No, they are really not.
It's really good to be reminded,
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, we used to go to the library all the time because I grew up with no TV and no pop culture, that kind of stuff. So the library was the place to go, and it was very bookish and really got into lots of ideas and philosophies. And I remember getting really into space at one point when I was little. So I was probably about 10, and really loving the images of the galaxies and the Milky Way. And I remember there was one book with an image, and it was just this huge, galaxies, and it was a really amazing image. And then there was a really small little speck with a little dot that said, "You are here." Like it just showed like our solar system.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at that as a kid, like gave me an ego. I literally like felt everything like kind of caving in. Like I had this sort of like existential ego, and it brought on a panic attack. And I had like a panic attack from it
How
because
old
it was so like, what the fuck are we? Like 10. I was like, what are we? What? Like it was just really like my little brain just went.
Am I really?
And I remember being really like, yeah. And I remember my mom had to give me like a child's aspirin. Yeah, the orange flavored ones.
Baby aspirin.
Yeah, baby aspirin, probably more of a placebo, just so I'd like kind of relax and then just like go for a nap because I was so freaked out. from
The
the
realization.
perspective, which was good.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's good to it's good to be reminded every once in a while that we are, puts us in our place. It's good.
Yeah. 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 I get it. I get it.
So yeah, so if we're yeah. Yeah, so if we're trying to get perspective for the new year and moving forward, those are a few tips on how to move forward. And also just like take baby steps. I think when people put too much expectation on themselves too, there's a lot of fear based around that, with high expectations, and people feel like they let themselves down. So just take little steps towards just be your towards getting to those places.
We are all going at our own pace. We
Yeah.
don't, there's no race, there's no pace, it's your pace. And, you can, get the book and study yourself at your own pace. You can come to our retreat. The retreat is going to like jettison you to another place, because when you're around people that support you and help you through and answer your questions along the way. I mean, I love retreats for that kind of thing, because you get a deep dive into what it really feels like to be doing all the things that we're talking about at a much deeper level and a much more intense level. But I learn better that way. I like it deep and intense because I learn quickly, and then I get to feel what it feels like, and then I can go on and do it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants to come to Hawaii, just saying, April.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I mean, not only is it a beautiful location and such a magical surrounding, what we're going to be guiding you through is going to be quite profound as well. Conscious dreaming, really connecting with your dreams, really working in the dream realms to bring about amazing change in your waking life, not just for exploration and for soul growth, but for healing and for anything that you really want it to be for. And Peggy Sue's guidance through deepening intuition, having that enrich your life as well, so that you're making the right decisions and you're connecting to yourself and to your source and to what you want to bring into your life.
Yes, and your source is you. And that's what I think both of us want to do, is empower people to know that they are the power and they are the change, and they can do it themselves. They don't need, outside sources to help them. They actually have the power to do it themselves. So I'm super excited about this, and we will be back with some more talking about who knows what.
Yeah.
In the new year.
Yeah, definitely. Always totally good to catch up with you, Peggy Sue.
Yeah. All right. Take care and see you soon.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the INTUI Dream podcast. Join us next time for more conversations with Peggy Sue Honeyman-Scott and Carr.